I'm gonna demo trimming a small plate. This is a 3-pound plate. Um, and so one good indication that a plate is ready to be trimmed is that if you can handle it without it distorting. So this plate is late leather hard, which is when I prefer to trim. I feel I have the best results and the least amount of loss. So first thing I'm going to do is look at the size of the inside of this plate, which is about the width of my hand with my thumb extended. And so I'm going to use that information to decide where to put my foot. So I'm going to be able to just flip this. Oh, actually before I flip it, I'm going to hold this down with a water seal, so I'm going to get the rim wet. Just dipping my finger in some water, using it as an applicator. Pretty much just enough to make the whole rim shine. I don't want it to get slippy at all. And once I have the water on there, go ahead and flip it down onto the wheel. And I'm going to put it as close to the center as I can. And get the wheel going. I'm just going to tap it to center with my left hand, trying to stop it from moving past center with my right. And it can be a little tricky to get it unstuck first when you start, because it started to adhere already with that water. So that is pretty centered. I'm going to go ahead and stop the wheel. I'm going to push down on the plate, securing it to the wheel head. Then I'm going to go ahead and look at about my measurement here. So that's about the size of the inside of the foot, or the inside of the plate. It's about the size I'm going to make the outside of the foot. So I've got my mark there, and I'm going to get started. I'm just going to remove some clay off of this shoulder. And you can see there's a fair amount of clay to remove, and that's just fine. That means the plate had plenty of support when I threw it before, and it's not likely to warp before I get it onto the wheel to trim. So I'm just remove some initial material from the piece, kind of to let me see what it's going to look like here. And I'm going to cut probably, about 3/8 of an inch wide foot. I like to have a little bit of meat to the plate foot, and I like to have my foot fairly wide compared to some people's taste, but I don't like my plate to rock when I'm eating off of it. So I'm going to start in the middle with the corner of my tool and trim outward towards that line that I already carved to define the outside of the foot. And that's pretty good. Met up, didn't get all shaky on me or anything. And with something wider like this, I'll start and I'll cut the flat cut first from about the middle to the outside, because I don't want to cut the center too thin. It needs to be not cut as deep, and sometimes I have a tendency of cutting it too deep when I start that second cut in the middle. Let's just cut outward. Clean this up a little more here. And that should be the final depth. This outside foot ring. And I'm just very gently going to work in this time, smoothing that curve from the outside to the middle, trying to remove as many throwing rings as possible. And I want to get rid of those throwing rings in the middle, but I would rather not have it get too thin there and have a little ring than to make my center too deep. I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to clean this a little more, clean that edge. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll rib the inside and the foot before I cut the outside, because when I cut the outside it is going to become weaker and I don't want to be working in here any longer when I do that. Done that, I'm going to move back out here and I'm going to cut the foot down to about the same depth on the outside as in. Just smooth it out. I just want to make this a nice smooth curve from the foot up to the edge. Lighten up the plate, but I don't want it to become too thin. I don't want it to feel frail or weak in my hand. I feel like that's about an appropriate amount to remove. Maybe just a little more down here because it's not quite as deep as the inside of the foot. Smooth that a little. Just my fingers on the corners. I'm going to take my metal rib, smooth that foot again. So I'm smoothing on the bottom with the metal rib and the corners with my fingers. And then just going to use the metal rib. It's really nice using the water seal to hold it down, work the plate all the way to the edge. Plates do pose a little bit of trouble taking them off of the wheel with the water seal. And so you kind of press to the side and up a little, get it to lift free, and there's your plate.